Welcome to the second part of our ABC of Stunting series, where this month we're going to teach you how to do the stoppie. We got our expert here, Rishikesh Manke. We got the Pulsar NS200, and this guy is going to teach you how to do this step by step. The first step being
basic stoppie.
But before we go into the details, here's a look back at the first Pulsar Mania ABC of Stunting tutorial, where we showed you how to do a wheelie. Starting with the basic wheelie, we showed you how to use your shoulders to initiate the wheelie and not ruin your clutch. And then we progressed to the long wheelie, where you make deft use of the clutch, throttle and rear brake to pull a wheelie down the straight. The first step in mastering a stoppie is the basic stoppie, or as they call it, the stationary stoppie, where you yank the front brake and you lift the rear wheel. For that, you need to get up to what, 20-30 kilometers per hour?
No, 10 to 15 kilometers per hour.
So Rishi says 10 to 15 kilometers per hour, obviously first gear. So you start rolling and then what? Yank the brake.
No, first you have to pull the clutch and then you have to yank the brake.
Okay, so first you pull the clutch, then you yank the brake and you lift the rear wheel in the air.
Right.
And do you use anything with the rear brake on this?
No.
So no rear brake. So that's the basic stoppie, where you just lift the rear wheel. Before we progress, here are a few tips. Like we did for the wheelie, for the stoppie too, the first tip is to reduce tire pressure. But this time, not on the rear wheel, but of the front wheel. Now to do a stoppie, you obviously need good brakes. The entire Pulsar range is now standard with disc brakes. The NS200 that we have here has got front and rear disc brakes and very good stoppers at that. But how do you use those brakes? Normally, when you ride on the road, we use 2 fingers on the brake lever. But here, on a stoppie, because you're using the brakes heavily, you need to use solid pressure on the front brake. And for that, you need to use 3 fingers. So that's how you do the rolling stoppie. You get up to incremental speed. So try it at 30, 40, 50, 60. Get the feel of the bike, get the feel of how the rear wheel is in the air, how high you can get the rear wheel, and then obviously release pressure on the front brake so that you can carry the stoppie. You were saying that the NS is actually a good bike to do this. Why is that?
Just because of the wave rotor.
So because of the pattern of the front disc brake, what happens? How does it help?
It's help you out to hold the rolling stoppie for a longer time.
So you can carry the stoppie for a longer distance because of the pattern of the disc brake. The Pulsar NS has more tricks up its sleeve, making it an ideal bike for stunts like the stoppie. First, of course, the naked form is a boon, both for visibility and the lightweight that it affords. The perimeter frame is also very rigid, enabling great control while on one wheel. This is aided by good weight distribution and perfect dynamics that makes it easy to master the stoppie. Now, once you've got the hang of the rolling stoppie, what's next?
Next is Endo.
So what does the Endo mean?
Endo means like in the stoppie, you have to turn your bike left to right.
So basically, with the rear wheel in the air, you turn the bike around. The Endo looks difficult, and it is difficult. First is of course to master the rolling stoppie. So you start the stoppie and at around 60 kilometers per hour, once the rear wheel is in the air, you release pressure ever so slightly to carry the stoppie, and while at it, use your hips to rotate the bike. You can do this with a 90-degree rotation or then progress to 180 degrees, which is what the experts do. And by the time you're done, you should be facing the direction where you came from. Before we end, here are some common mistakes you should avoid. The first is body weight transfer. Now, if you don't shift your body weight to the front, what happens?
Front will get locked and get slide also.
So basically, if there's not enough pressure on the front wheel, the front will lock, it'll slide, and you won't have enough traction at the front to get enough grip to bring the rear wheel in the air. Now, the second is vision. So like in a wheelie, you told us that you need to look in a straight line. And stoppie, where do you look?
You have to look straight on.
So if you don't look straight, if you look down, what happens?
You will fall, you'll get topple on it.
Well, he's not sugarcoating it. And the third way that you could fall, you could damage a bike, is if the rear wheel comes too high up in the air and then the bike falls on top of you. So how do you control that?
You have to release the front brake pressure.
And that's how you do a stoppie. You start with the basic stoppie, move on to the rolling stoppie, and end with the Endo. Now, obviously, you need to do this in a safe, controlled environment. Do not stunt on a public road. The public road is not a place for practicing your stunts. Do it in an environment like the Indy karting track here in Pune. Also, make sure that you are properly kitted out. A leather riding suit, boots, gloves, a good helmet. You need to be safe. Now, if you want us to give you feedback on your stunts, send it to us on this email ID, and our pro-stunter, Rishikesh Manke, will give you feedback and try and make you a better rider. Till then, stay tuned to this channel, and next month, we're going to teach you how to do the burnout.